welcome back to my channel. My name is Corin, also known as the Kitten Choreographer. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a teen with a passion for animal rescue and, in particular, kitten rescue. So as a kitten foster parent that works with a rescue, most of the time I talk to the potential adopters for my kittens. Every rescue and shelter group is different, so you as a kitten foster parent might not get to talk to your kitten's adopters. However, with the rescue group I work with, and I know with a lot of the other rescue groups, foster parents do get to talk to their kitten's adopters. For me and the rescue group I work with, I get to talk to all approved adopters. So this means anyone that submits an application for one of my kittens and that looks good from what they can tell, that the application gets approved, that they're not denied based on paper for what they submit, then I get to talk to those adopters. And at events, I look at all the applications, good and bad, for people that are interested in adopting a kitten. But picking adopters for your foster kittens is very important because this is going to be the forever home that your kittens are in for the rest of their lives. I personally like to think that people have good intentions when applying for kittens. However, that still doesn't mean that we can give out a kitten to anyone that applies. I work with a rescue, Itty Bitty Kitten Rescue, linked in the description below, to their website at least, that is pretty selective for our kitten adopters. And with a group that's more selective, I've learned how to narrow down what a really good kitten adopter is. And I've learned what not so good kitten adopters look like. So in this video, I will be sharing some red flags to look out for when talking to potential adopters. My next upload will be a green flags video, so green flags for kitten adopters. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that on Wednesday. But let's go ahead and talk about the red flags. One important thing to note about red flags for adopters is that it's not just on the paper application that you might see red flags. While some of these red flags might be on the application, there are also oral red flags that you need to look out for when you're talking to these potential adopters. And these oral red flags can be really important too, so make sure to look out for those. But first, I'm going to talk about the red flags you might see on the paper application, and then we'll go ahead and talk about some red flags you might see while talking to adopters. Number one, they want to declaw. Declawing is very inhumane to cats, so if they want to declaw this kitten that they're applying for, or they've shared that they recently have declawed another cat in their care, this is a huge red flag. Declawing is very inhumane. I don't have a full video on why it is, but I will link one from a different creator in the description below. But a quick summary is that cats need their claws, and chopping them off is equivalent to like chopping off part of your finger if you are a human. So it's definitely not nice to the cats. And them wanting to declaw really shows that they aren't willing to deal with some of the problems that might arise having a kitten. While I personally don't think scratching is a huge deal, having an animal does mean that they are imperfect. They might scratch, they might occasionally go outside of the litter box, and the fact that their adopter might not be willing to kind of deal with that is a red flag. It shows they might not want all of the things that come with a kitten and just the good parts, which is not realistic. At the rescue I work with, we don't adopt out to anyone that wants to declaw, and I 100% stand by that practice. If there's a question about declawing on the application, which there is on mine, there's often going to be an option for, do you want to declaw? Yes, no, or I don't know. And while some people might say I don't know or yes, we will try and educate them if they seem willing to that. A lot of people that maybe are applying for a kitten but haven't really had one in the past don't know how bad declawing is, and so when we describe how bad it is and why it is, there's a good chance that people will go, oh, I didn't know that was so bad, of course I'd never do that. And some people answer I don't know because they actually don't know what declawing is. And if there is a situation where they immediately agree not to declaw after you've talked to them about it, this shouldn't be a red flag that is too much looked into. But if they still are on the yes, that's a huge red flag. If you hear anything in the background, that's my foster kitten Oliver. He's in the litter box right now causing a ruckus. So number two, their other animals aren't fixed and or vaccinated. So getting your pets fixed and keeping them up to date on their vaccines is basic pet care. And we aren't going to adopt to someone that shows they aren't willing to give basic pet care to the pets they already have, which means they won't give basic pet care to the kittens we give them. Rescues and shelters spend a lot of love and money on keeping their cats healthy, and I'm not going to adopt to a home that is going to neglect to give their kitten the medical care that they need. Number three, they aren't allowed to have pets in their home. It's important to check whether or not someone is allowed to have pets in their home. If they own their home, this isn't going to be a problem, but some apartments or places that people rent don't allow cats to come into the home. And if an adopter isn't allowed to have cats in their apartment, that's a recipe for returning a kitten. And they definitely aren't a good fit for one. I recommend that you require like part of their lease that says they're allowed to have animals, or a letter from the landlord, something like that, because a lot of apartments do allow people to have pets, especially nowadays, but you still want to make sure that they are allowed to have pets. So number 4, they've surrendered an animal in the past. I will admit this red flag does have a few exceptions, but for the most part it isn't a good idea to adopt someone that has surrendered an animal in the past. If this red flag presents itself, make sure you ask the potential adopter to elaborate further. And it's up to your judgment to decide if you think they'd be a good home for a kitten again. However, some common reasons I wouldn't adopt them in the case of this red flag are: they've given up multiple animals in the past, they've dumped the animal they've given up instead of finding a good place for that animal to go, they surrendered because they were bored of the pet, moving, got a new partner, had a baby, or any other reason that shows that their cats or other animals are disposable and not a part of your family. Because cats are family. I'm gonna keep saying that, but cats are your family. They are not something you can just get rid of. So number 5, they lied. And this should be an obvious one, but unfortunately a lot of people lie, and it's not good. And if you find out someone has lied about something, whether it's insignificant or not, it's a pretty big sign they're probably not a good fit for one of your kittens. Because even if you found out they lied about something insignificant, they've now shown they're untrustworthy and you don't know if they've lied about something bigger. Okay, so that was all the ones I've kind of noticed that you could determine on paper from their adoption application, but let's move on to the ones you might hear or find while you're talking to potential adopters. So number 6, not everyone in the home is on board with getting a kitten. Everybody who lives in that home needs to know and accept that a kitten is going to be brought in. This is another recipe for kittens getting returned. Sometimes people try and adopt a kitten without their spouse knowing or their roommate knowing, and then when they take the kitten home and the spouse or roommate is like, hey, no, this isn't cool, they gotta bring the kitten back. So everyone in the home needs to know that a kitten is coming in. Number 7, the kitten is a gift for someone else. The only time I will accept this is if it's a parent to a young child and the parents know that they are going to be the ones taking care of the animal. But again, this gift one is similar to the last one. Gifting a kitten to someone is yet another recipe for the kitten getting returned. There is zero guarantee that the person being gifted the kitten actually wants one and is ready for the responsibility. Okay, number 8, one of their past animals has been involved in a violent situation. This should be a no-brainer, but it's shocking. I have heard stories of people trying to come in and adopt a kitten after their past cat was just hurt to the point of no longer being around by another person or animal that cat was around often and would be around the kitten that they're trying to get. This includes one personal experience of mine, and this lady did not get far in the application process at all. She did not even get to fill out an application. But this lady messaged me about wanting a kitten because her dog just killed the last one. And this dog was still in the house that this kitten would be going into. Like, people. I really dislike them sometimes. I try and be professional in here, but like, oh my goodness, I wanted to yell at that lady a lot. It was over email, so I didn't, but oh my goodness, people make me angry. So number 9 is a really broad one, but this is, they say something that makes it seem like they won't take good care of the kitten or won't understand that the kitten is part of their family. And like I said, this one is broad, but I think you'll understand it if you hear it. Cats are family. I think anyone that fosters kittens knows that, because we have a very deep love for these kittens and obviously want them to go to a family where they become part of that family. They're indispensable. If the potential adopter alludes to the fact that they aren't willing to handle the responsibility of having an animal in their home for 15 plus years, cats can live a long time, then they aren't a good fit for your kittens. Number 10 is another broad one, and this is, they get upset about how you run your program. But when I mention this, it's more like anyone that gets upset that your kittens aren't free, or that your kittens have to be fixed before adoption, or anything along that realm probably isn't a good fit for your kittens. Asking for free kittens shows they aren't ready for the financial responsibility of having a kitten. And I'm not saying adopters need to be rich. You don't need to be rich to have a cat. I'm just saying that you need to have a way to support this cat. You need to buy food for this cat. You need to buy litter for this cat. You need to take them to the vet once a year. There is a financial responsibility to taking care of another living being. And that's especially when it comes to vet care. So if they can't afford the adoption fee of a kitten, which I'd say is anywhere from $50 to $200 depending on the rescue. The rescue I work with is $122. So if they can't afford that adoption fee, they probably can't afford a kitten. And the person showing a lack of understanding that kittens need to be fixed, and especially if they get angry that your kitten will be fixed when they adopt them, shows a lack of understanding about basic knowledge of a cat. Some people may be able to be educated on this, but some people aren't able to be swayed, unfortunately. And if they aren't, no to the kitten. And when I say that, if they critique your rescue, a certain amount of constructive criticism is okay, but something like wanting a neonatal kitten, a kitten that can't eat on its own yet, or wanting a pregnant cat, or something like that, that's where you need to know that your program is good in at least that aspect. You as a foster might have reasons why you critique the program, but an adopter looking in can't critique the basic care that is necessary for cats. So number 11 is the broadest one yet, and that is, you just get bad vibes. And it might not make sense to you, but this is important. Sometimes you just have a gut feeling, and you need to listen to that gut feeling. Sometimes an adopter might seem perfect on paper, but if you just have a strong feeling that your kitten will not be safe and happy in that home, don't let them go there, if at all possible. I have heard stories of people who felt a bad feeling with the adopter and ignored it, and that kitten ended up in a not good situation. I will say to be careful that the bad feeling isn't anxiety or you just not wanting to let your kittens go, because sometimes that feeling can kind of be mistaken as anxiety, so keep in tune with yourself, watch out for that, but if you have a legitimate gut feeling, listen to it. Gut feelings are there for a reason, and most of the time, you're right. And with my kittens, I always go on a I'd rather be safe than sorry basis. And the last topic I'm going to discuss is, what should I do if there are red flags? I've just told you all about the red flags, and you're like, now what? Does that mean like I don't adopt them at all, or do I just think about it? And I'm going to say a really helpful answer that is, it depends. It depends on the red flag if I'm immediately going to say, no, you are not adopting this kitten, or if I'm going to say, let's keep talking, let's see what else you give me. We'll see if they can be educated, if it's a lesser red flag, or, sometimes I'm just like, nope, no, you're not getting a kitten. It's really just a case-by-case situation. With these red flags, you really need to trust your intuition as well as your logic. In some situations, I will adopt out to a person that had a red flag. An example of this is if they originally said they wanted to declaw, but after you educating them, they changed their mind and said, of course I won't do that. There are also some people in rescues that will adopt out kittens to people that have surrendered an animal in the past, depending on the situation. However, adopting out a kitten is not on a 3-strike you're out basis. A lot of red flags are enough to not adopt out to someone, even if it's just one. Examples of this are kittens being hurt in the past, lying, or bad vibes. But that is all the red flags I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe for more kitten-related content, especially the green flags video I have coming next. Also, please make sure to leave any thoughts or questions that you have down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching again, and goodbye!